Live stream. Ba, 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 da, da, da. Oh, that sinister laugh just rolling off into infinity is wonderful.
That was pretty great, and everybody heard it too. So
Was that part of the?
Yeah, that was our roll in.
Sorry, folks, we were just dinking around over here, and at What the Pod. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Flipside, What the Pod. What's happening, Eric? First one in. Okay. That's a lot of.
It'll come and go.
Oh, okay.
Is it on random? Is that what's going on?
I got the control.
Random echolocation.
Yes. We are now dolphins. Well, sure, the part we don't want to keep saying just keeps going. Yeah. You might as well just swear right out of the gate. You can just get it over with. I mean, that's what they tune in for, right? Is that? That's the big.
That's
draw.
what brings all the crowd.
Yeah, that's the big draw right there.
Yeah.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? What's going on? Another week, another Thursday.
Whoa.
Right? Isn't it Thursday?
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Can I do this? Am I just in the wrong spot? I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm trying to be comfortable.
Oh, I know.
This seems weird because then I feel like I'm just back here.
Yeah.
This seems like I'm engaged, just looking at your guys' soul, talking about things. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm in this uncomfortable chair with a very strange pillow in it.
I was going to say first,
very strange
we'll
pillow
introduce
spots.
things, and then
we'll
then
get
we
into
can do
whatever nonsense we're going to get into.
Exactly. This is What the Pod, so this is basically just our discussion portion of our weekly episodes. Today we're mainly going to be, depending on if we stay on track or not, we're going to talk about speaker choice and why it matters. Does it matter? Does it matter more than you think it does? Because it's a big topic, but it's also one of those things that's not that hard to really experiment with.
Right.
But yeah, that'll mainly be it. And then before we get to that stuff, though, we should go ahead and I guess do the hellos and any other weekly. I don't know, Jacob, if you have a list of shows this week or not, but
if you guys want to discuss other things for a moment, I can.
Cool. Well, yeah, we can say
So the Venn diagram between ice cream parlors and speakers.
Actually, that would be sweet to have cabinets that were like barber pole colored. That would be really hard to Tolex, but it would be cool.
Have it in the shape of a cone.
That would be even cool. Yeah. Or revolving speakers. A revolving speaker pole.
It's a revolving brass speaker pole.
Yes.
Is this just the new
we've already
Leslie?
had
the new Leslie.
It's the Leslie Nielsen.
But you attach the speed of the control of it to your expression control. So you can rev it up or slow it down.
Instead of just on or off?
Yeah.
So the more intoxicated you get throughout the night, see how many people you can throw off the pole.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
or like how many people you can make. Yeah.
That'd be fun. He's like,
well, sometimes I do wish like cartoon physics applied.
Oh, I wish that applied all the time.
Yeah.
Driving home would be a great where you can just go drive over people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could do it with some small cars in the Jeep, but.
Or if you just like rev up enough, you can walk on air.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just yep.
Yeah, I had some guy driving in today. This broke down old VW with like one of those made a lot of noise.
Oh, the old horns.
And I'm like, dude, number one, you don't know how to work a clutch, because I can hear it. I can. You are not the speed that you are going, and start like at the stoplight. It was all clutch.
Oh,
before he started going, and I'm like, bro, that's you're gonna burn that clutch out fairly easy, because I can hear you can't drive this thing, And then it was because you could hear him shift.
Yeah,
it was terrible. It was awful. Anyway, but at one point, everybody likes to do the swerve around to try to. Everybody needs to get one.
Do the swerve around.
Yeah, everybody needs to get one car length ahead, because then they're gonna get to their destination sooner.
Yeah, 7 seconds before you do.
Yeah, and they got to make it one car length ahead. This guy was kind of tailing me a little bit, so I gave my brake just a light touch, so that he could realize that I have a steel bumper on the back of my Jeep. and that maybe you don't want to ride my ass because I'm gonna walk away from this fine, and your 3-toned VW is probably not going to. Well, the two bumpers or two quarter panels had different colors, so clearly this is a kit. So, but it was just kind of funny. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be fine, I swear. Anyway, so that has nothing to do with speakers, except I could tie a speaker into that story. So there was a subwoofer, and that was loud, and that could have been why the quarter panels fell off in the first place.
That'll happen. Resonant frequencies.
I love that game.
Also, do you guys notice, or it might just be my experience, like the resonant frequency of a lot of shit tends to be around A? There's just a lot of things, like a lot of things I'll be testing, and for whatever reason that, like right around A, maybe B, but most of the time right around A is where like a lot of things seem to resonate.
I guess it depends on what you're.
That sounds a boot, right? A?
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Oh, I.
Oh, I. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like to tune down to I.
I standard.
Yeah, I'm tuning down
to A.
Tuning down to A. Are you talking about resonant like frequencies of
well, I just mean like rooms, like
or things?
No, I just mean like rooms, speaker cabinets. Just a lot of times whenever I'm testing stuff, I noticed it in the rooms here. I've noticed it before at home. There's been a lot of places, even at like Connor's old place when we used to play. Right around A, for whatever reason, would always be the spot where everything would kind of rumble.
Start to rumble.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say they have definitely different frequencies that they put certain music in to certain rooms. Like in Las Vegas, the slot machines are all in a certain. They're either C or G, C or G, I believe, because of the
kind of keep you awake and alert,
to spend more money.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is all by design. Certain keys and definitely tempos. Because I used to work in a restaurant. We used to have these. This is when we had to actually like manually do the CD player. But this is when MP3s first came out. So you'd have hours and hours of music on one CD. But we used to have CDs that were marked like dinner time, happy hour, lunchtime. And it was all because it went within a certain tempo range. Because like at night they wanted to turn the tables faster, so the music was faster.
So you'd eat a little bit
faster.
faster.
It makes people feel a little,
and get out, so we could turn the table. And whereas at lunchtime was also faster because people had shorter amount of time. But
at happy hour, you want them to.
But happy hour has kind of slowed it down, so like between 3 and 6.
Mellow them out a bit.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, kind of hang out and stay and spend more money.
Drink a bit.
Yeah, or get your deal less effectively.
Yeah, and then when you're done with that and we speed it back up, you can eat and get out.
Yeah. Was that the GTFO playlist was the last one?
Oh, the one for the end of the night, like at between like midnight and 2. The last half hour is if you put that one in, that was usually a kind of get things moving. Get out.
Closing time. This makes me think of back, I think it was in the early 90s, late 80s, when they would do like subliminal messaging. And they had
that was a big deal.
And they had to make that illegal.
Well, they would do that in the in
don't
film.
Don't steal.
They would do that in the movies too. That was all part of it, where like one frame would be.
Yeah, they would have the frame
concession stand.
Coca-Cola.
So all of a sudden you're watching this thing and you're like, "Fuck, I need to go get a soda."
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, just like that. Or buy from Flipside.
Buy from Flipside.
It has nothing to do with speakers, but
we can get into that.
We
later.
can get in that at some point. This is the nonsensical portion.
Yeah. Oh.
This is our free
time
form,
is flying though. Damn.
Free form discuss. We're already at 23, huh?
Yeah.
Free form discussion portion of the cast.
Well, yeah. I was gonna say if the audience has anything to add to, I don't know if any happenings in the greater world of music before, unless Jacob's got that list ready of.
I've been a little bit.
There's not a lot going
No?
on.
Out of the
Garbage
loop.
is playing at the Fillmore on Sunday.
Okay. Earthless.
Or
is
no,
coming
at
up.
Mission Ballroom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Say
they're-
Earthless is
but
coming
they're
up
only
next
happy when it
Wednesday.
rains.
Yep.
So, and that's the thing. They're going to be miserable unless it's raining.
There's hot dogs at the crypt all month long. Halloweenies.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Halloweenies. Are they free?
They are not. They're about $10 a piece.
$10 for a hot dog?
Come with a bag of chips.
You know that Costco exists, right?
We had this discussion.
These are
actually.
our friends, and we want people to go there and eat.
Oh, I mean, these are the best hot dogs.
I mean,
Go get your hot dogs. Look at me, I'm Harry Potter.
I have to think about it.
I'm going to get my hot dog weenies. Yeah, no, sorry about that. It's not. wasn't trying to do a thing. I'm sure they're like, all
Gourmet,
all
delicious.
beef, gourmet, bougie weenies.
Bougie, all sorts.
Bougie weens.
Bouge dogs.
Bougie weens. So.
And you can
Why
get a
not?
Debbie Does Dallas dog.
Why isn't there any reverb on that, huh?
Or a Glizzy Gillespie.
Glizzy Gillespie. So it's just all just hot dog
Punnery?
just
Hot dog punnery?
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
lot of punnery going
Yeah.
on over there.
Oh, yeah.
Although the food's, I mean, I haven't been to eat. So,
I eat there every
But-
time I work there.
right.
It's delicious.
but I've looked at the menu more than once, and I'm like, everything looks really good.
It is really
But you've
good.
mentioned that all the food is really good over there, so
Oh, yeah. They don't
they
muck
don't mess
around.
around, which is nice.
No, they make it right.
Eric said I spent an hour troubleshooting my Les Paul until I realized it was my workbench.
Probably resonating.
Because
okay.
I was just sitting here like, what?
Like,
yeah,
I-
what? How did the two?
How did you get the strings on the bench?
And this didn't make it through, but he said the G string usually buzzes everything. And YouTube was like,
Tried to
no.
block it. So dumb.
Are you serious?
And I approved it, and they said no.
And it still blocked it.
You can't
So
say
stupid. Can't say
G-string?
G. Yeah, that's so stupid.
on you. What? Okay, I've had
We're
it.
talking about guitars. It's
Yeah,
the third string on the guitar.
Right. So is that what you have to be like?
G string in
E,
context
A,
to
D, third string on the guitar.
guitar.
Is this out of my out of?
No, I was just making sure it was getting it.
It's
since
starting
it was
to
kinda
tilt.
down. Yeah, it was tilting.
It's like I'm losing interest. You're in the shitter when the microphone's
When the microphone's trying to get out of it.
Yeah, the mic is trying to leave. I've had enough.
I noticed my guitar wanted to. It was C.
Oh, C for yours. Interesting. Okay.
I gotta do this.
It got the
Oh,
springs
lean it
really
back
vibrating. Speaking of vibrating, baffles.
Speakers.
Speakers.
Yeah.
Baffles
That's
and
what
what's
we're-
attached
yeah.
to them.
What do they
'Cause
do? What do they taste like? What do
I-
they say to you?
I learned something today that I didn't think about before, but the stereo 412 cabinets.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Dave Friedman was saying, don't do that
No.
because the baffle can't do its job
No.
because it's all phase. There's phase problems and
Yeah, the only time I could see that it could maybe work would be a more or less a dual mono, because sometimes people will end up in stereo situations where it's really just dual mono. As long as you're not offsetting, yeah, because with what you're bringing up, as long as you had two different sounds going on or whatever it might be, yeah, you're definitely right where that, because I've always wondered about that even with the X cat, because a lot of people used to try to claim that doing the X pattern on that would help fix that, and I'm like, well, no, because fundamentally the baffle's still the baffle, nothing's changing. So it doesn't really, unless
floating baffles for both things would
fix it, yeah.
which
But,
I
yeah,
think Mesa Boogie built a cab like that at one point.
they did, yeah, and I think
It was $7,000.
Probably was. And covered in diamond plate.
well, no, a lot of their classic stuff. I mean, because they used to make cabinets for a lot of different touring acts, just because they were pretty roadworthy. But I was gonna say I thought they did have floating baffle ones for a while.
I think the Road King cabinet did.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Which
you could
actually I've
run
never
that amp stereo.
I've
dual
never
mono.
played, other than some of the amps that Steve had built. I don't think I've ever played very many floating baffles. and I don't know that I ever really noticed much of a bit. Like I would at least for me, like I can't say it was as big of a difference as going from like a combo to a head and cab, as the floating. But it wasn't like the floating baffle just completely changed how the combo sounded. But because I think there's some amps where I know. I believe Fender used to do it on specific combo cabinets mainly because of just like the behavior of the speaker and like, it was to kind of give it a little give for the speaker movement. But outside of that, I guess I never really knew what the idea. I don't know if what you watched that went over that, but I never really did know what the main principle behind the floating baffle was. But
they were talking mainly about stereo. I was watching Michael Nielsen, Big Hairy Guitars video where he asked a bunch of industry professionals and session people if they ever use stereo or if it's practical, and pretty much the answer was no, always mono unless you are the star of the band. Unless it's like your band. But and they were saying even then, with the way sound systems are that are pretty much mono anyway.
That's what I was going to say. Once the place has a hold of it, I guess it probably doesn't really matter that much. Only thing I could think of would be...
It's a different story.
Well, and that's what they were talking about.
Yeah, live, I mean, you can experience what they're trying to do, but in your car, you may not have right? Is that what they were...
Well, the flip of that. Like in the studio, you have control, but live, it all gets summed to mono anyway.
Yeah, basically the mono and then just pumped out to the twos. Yeah.
So even if you're running stereo or wet dry,
it's all getting thrown together anyway.
Actually, wet dry makes more sense because then you can even like put those in the same place in the stereo field if you wanted to.
Yes. Yeah.
But
and I would imagine
that makes more sense than stereo.
Well, and I wonder though, in the case of, even like with what we do on the Maris Monday stuff, like all of the pitch stuff for the most part is stereo with one side being, one pitch being left and one pitch being right. I do wonder how that ends up coming across, and because if you didn't have somebody that would hard pan one side to one side and one to the other, then I guess it really wouldn't matter at that point. But
and if at the end of the chain it all sums it anyway,
right? Yeah.
Then panning really kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is kind of interesting. I wonder though. I mean, 'cause to me, I guess in terms of setup, like it doesn't seem like it would be that offensive to just do either two combos or like 2 112s and two heads. Whatever. Well, like if you absolutely insisted on it,
if you had,
then I was gonna say it doesn't seem like it would be that offensive to do it that way, but
you have to be the superstar.
Well, and they were even like, and do I really want to drag to all this extra
Some
thing?
People do.
Like
Jeff does.
Yeah.
That was here earlier. Jeff will definitely drag two bass amps together so he can ping pong.
Well, and I was going to say, what you're hearing on stage, if that's the part that it matters for you, like if that's what it is, then yeah, go for it. But yeah, I was going to say, like whether it's necessary is a whole nother question.
Yeah.
But
and like whether the audience is going to give a shit. Yeah.
Like we were talking about earlier about like backing tracks and stuff. It's like no one knows, nor do they care.
Yeah.
And the only people who do care
are the musicians,
people making the music. Yeah.
Well, that's a whole nother thing, because I don't know. I see things on the interwebs. People get very upset with people that use backing tracks.
But
that's what we're talking about.
But I think those are the purists who.
Well,
they're going to complain probably no matter what.
Well, I was going to say musicians judging other musicians.
Oh, well, you don't have a 1957 Stratocaster into a.
Right.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I only play blue USA Strats.
But musicians are going to be the most critical of other musicians. Like you're saying, like the everyday person listening is not going to have that info or even
somebody
care.
that's sitting having an IPA over at, at the
Odyssey
brewery.
Beer Works.
Yeah, at the brewery is not going to give a shit that, like, hey, I hear a band, but there's no band.
Yeah, they're not going to be like, boo, and throw beer bottles at you.
Your bass player is shit. you know,
Your stereo image sucks.
It's terrible. I think they should.
Oh, you're not using a tube delay?
Right. Well, the only people that are looking at that is like goobers like us that are like, you know, I'm watching something and I'm looking in the background to go, what is that? What amp is that? I've never seen that.
But
I was watching something the other day and I was like, I had no business, but I'm looking in the background. It wasn't even a music thing. It was like just a regular television program. But in the one room was like music stuff. And I'm like, what guitar is that?
I do that too, though. Yeah,
Like, I
always do that. Yeah.
It was one thing too the other day. It was like a TikTok video or something about like they found their lost dog or somebody returned their lost dog, and I remember the lady was like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so glad that this dog got home." I'm like, "But you really need to get rid of that fucking spider." Like, you need to get rid of that Line 6 spider amp because it was like right next to where the door was, and like my brain instantly went to that, and I couldn't take my mind off of the fact of like why. I mean, that could be, you know, if that's how you make choices, that could be why you lost the dog too. These could be related. I'm not exactly sure, but you need to get rid of that amp. Sorry, my brain is broken. It doesn't necessarily. Anyway, this has nothing to do with speakers, but that's all I got to add.
I wonder if those amps would be better if you changed the speaker.
There we
that
go.
is
Back on
actually-
I wonder
track.
how much better a Line 6
That's a
spider
good point.
would be
I've never heard. Yeah, like a legitimate cabinet. Yeah,
like a V30 or something.
or even just like pumping it. Like, because honestly, almost everything you put it through. I know people hate 412s and whatever, but you put almost any amp through a 412, and it's an instant
Sounds
upgrade.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even
that
those
was
little
something-
Joyos that we have, like those mini Joyos, we've pushed those for 412s before, and those are something.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. But even when people like try to, you know, like I don't know, there was a dude a while back that was like trying to say, you know, like the power stage setup with a modeler was not as good as, you know, for live purposes. And I'm like, why don't you put it through a 412? Like, I think most people would disagree. Like it cops the sound good enough that like nobody's like, gonna give a shit. Nobody's gonna know unless you tell them. But
most of the audience isn't gonna. We've talked about that. It's like,
yeah.
Nobody's gonna know. The audience doesn't know that you're playing a modeler.
Right.
They don't know. They're just hearing cool, rocking tones coming through.
Well, and a lot of times I would almost wager, because I mean, I'm sure we'll get into this in a minute, but I would wager a lot of times, like the speakers that we're used to hearing things through and the ways that those things were recorded, that's a huge chunk of it that a lot of people, for whatever reason, like, you know, there's a lot of romanticism around amps and not so much about speakers and cabinets.
Or pickups.
Yeah, because like,
Or this overdrive.
because I think there's always going to be layers and levels of I don't want to call it fandom within gear, but you know what I mean. Like there's
an onion.
Well, kind of, but yeah. The closer you get to the core of the onion, the bigger the speaker cabs get.
It's like layers, okay, layers.
But no, my main meaning with that is just like, you have guys that get into amps, and then you have guys that get into like every single facet of the amp. Like there's different grades of
this capacitor, that tube.
And then people that take it as far as like this speaker made in this era with this type of wood cabinet and the whole, like people take it to a whole nother level. But I think at the end of the day, most of the time, as long as the speakers are ones you're familiar with, and then once you get into like the 212 or even a 412 setup, like those are a lot of the sounds that people are kind of always looking for, but obviously is not necessarily the most practical. But like almost any amp you put, like even a Vox, like I guarantee most people who don't like Voxes, you put a Vox through a 412 cab and you will change their mind. Most of the time. I mean, not to where they're going to love it, but they'll be like, oh, wow, this actually sounds incredible.
Well, it just adds another dimension or fullness to it that you're not getting through a 12. I mean, even a 212 is
it's a big jump.
Considerable jump from, you know, like even if you take a Blues Junior, let's say, and taking it out of that, 112, and if you were to just put it out into a 212, it's going to make a huge difference. Mm-hmm. You put that into even a 410 or a 412.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna, even it being what it is gonna change, its presence in the, play.
Well, and even just your a lot of your people's perceptions of certain classic tone. I guess for me, like AC/DC is almost always the best example, because most people, like if you like AC/DC's sound, like you like greenback speakers with Marshall heads, like that's the sound. Mm-hmm. But the speakers are a big chunk of that, because like there's, if you listen to some of the, funny enough, since we were talking about Mesa, AC/DC actually did run Mesa rigs, and I think it was in like the late 80s into the early 90s. They sounded way different. They sounded way heavier, which was kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. But that signature like woof of a greenback, and for anybody who's played a greenback, you'll know kind of what I mean. It has this low mids kind of woof to it once you get them really going, and like that was missing. And so it's just interesting to me like how much the greenback speaker almost getting killed by AC/DC is like part of their sound. And so there's a lot of people, even honestly, people get into the Dead. And and like the JBL thing, like that is a big, like you play those JBLs and like it instantly kind of does sound more like Jerry.
It kind of gets in that ballpark. Well, I think that's where you get like the 80s JCM 800 stuff. Part of that is the combo or the speakers, or the, like you said, if you're doing a head into a 412.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a lot of it. But I mean, how many times have we seen where somebody changes out their speaker in their amp and it's like, oh, this is exactly what it needed.
Oh. Yeah, it's like, usually that little missing ingredient, yeah.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of guys that have no idea. They're like, I don't know what the hell's in that thing.
Well, like the other day, somebody brought in a used PRS HDRX 20.
Yes.
And using that head with its, like, cabinet that it comes with, it doesn't sound... it's not my favorite. I don't really love it. But
and funny enough,
we sell those.
But putting it through a 212 with V30s, it did sound
pretty crisp.
Way different.
Well, and that's where one of those things better. Where I would, in that case, I don't know how often you've tried greenbacks, but like the creamback is what's in those cabinets.
So I looked again in the single 12. It's a V type.
Just V type.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because we played that through that. Oh, that's a Harley Benton that we've had for years, which is V30s.
Well, yeah, that one is. Yeah, for some reason I thought we looked, because I looked up that specific
in
model
the 212s that had different.
Oh, okay, only the 212? Okay, interesting. Okay.
Which, that's them making a choice that these two sound better than that one.
Yes. But yeah, that is interesting. I would never really look, because like the V-type, I mean, that I don't think that's necessarily V30, but... or in terms just, of like I don't know exactly like if that's just their kind of generic mid-range,
and who knows how they name it.
Well, because to me, like creambacks definitely have that greenback woof to them, so like that that kind of inherent kind of sound, and that is a thing. Like I think to a lot of people, depending on what you play, it doesn't always, how that low end responds is also like a big difference with a lot of speakers, because I would say, like, for me, when I was first experimenting with speakers, the low end and how that feels was like, and that was more of a feeling thing than an audible thing, but that was what changed the most when I was going from, like, speaker to speaker, because, like, there's some, like, you play, like, high-powered or, speakers that have a lot of handling, like 150 watt, 200 watt, type speakers. It's really interesting. Like, you feel like you can kind of throw whatever you want at them, and they never really feel like they're gonna give up,
explode.
Yeah. Whereas, like you play like any kind of lower wattage speaker with even like a mid wattage amp, and you'll instantly feel like, ooh, like there's gonna be times where you're like, I don't know if this is this feels unsafe for the speaker. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's one reason for me. Like I guess I don't mind the slight change in sounds for the better handling when it comes to some of that stuff. But depending on what you're playing, because that is the other thing, like you hear a lot of blues players play through like greenbacks, and like it's a cool, like it's just a sound, like it's hard to get around it, like it does the thing when they do the lead, it just does that thing. So I think for me, I mean, we always say this, but the right tool for the right job. So like that's why metal guys obviously usually go with speakers that have a fair amount of handling and not a crazy low, not a crazy boomy low end. They go with a tighter low end.
Something that's a little tighter, yeah.
Which is kind of the opposite, because like usually metal guys are pushing more low end, so therefore people assume that they would go with speakers that are pushing more low end. But a lot of times they're kind of to me, or in
You don't want to flub out though.
well, that's what I was
it
gonna
doesn't
say.
wanna
Yeah,
be
a lot of times your
too
speaker
flubbed.
cab is almost correcting what's happening with the amp to a point. Because like you can have
well,
kind
I mean,
of
it's a
yeah.
component.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's certainly obviously a component
Yeah.
to the overall rig.
Well, it is, but I mean, even like a lot of people's speaker choices, or even a lot of companies' speaker choices, a lot of times it's because the EQ curve of the speaker is kind of what they're using to tame certain aspects of the amp.
Of the
so.
amp, yeah.
It's like the Fender stuff has that dipped mid, and they bring that mid back with the choice of speaker.
Right, right. Yeah, and I mean, I think that happens a lot. Like even when every once in a while, not too many companies do it, but some speaker cabinet companies will even do mixed. Like you'll have a 212 with two different speakers, and a lot of times what they're doing with that is like those two speakers are kind of complementing each other's deficiencies. Usually, a lot of times. So like you might have one that has like a scooped mid range, but it has really nice treble and really nice bass, and then you kind of pair it with another speaker that does the opposite of that, and you end up in this nice little kind of happy medium.
A little happy space.
And then there's that of like mixing speakers in a 212 of like not the same.
Well, that's what I meant.
That's what I was
yeah,
saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think I was drifting off and thinking, do we carry speakers? Do we?
We have some
We had
speakers
some
available. We don't necessarily have a speaker brand
That we're a dealer for?
that we're a dealer for, but we can get them through places.
For sure.
So
Because
we don't like because
there's another company that happens to be doing mod things in their place. And by mods, they mean just swapping speakers. We'll happily do that for you. If there's something that you want to pick up.
yeah, we could do
Yeah.
that. Some
We
of
can-
that stuff's easy.
Well,
mean,
Yeah.
speakers. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say like easy stuff would be, and one that happens all the time is like the Blues Junior. I'll use that as an example because a lot of those guys, I see it in some of the groups that I'm in. Like, hey, what's your speaker suggestion for this or that? The other thing, like a Cannabis Rex is a really good one for that, because of it works really well with. It depends on which Blues Junior because there's all the different variations. But those work really well, and some of it is because you can crank it,
Yeah.
and that won't flub out.
Didn't
Or some of
Fender
those do flub out.
special editions of those with the Cannabis Rex?
I don't know. I think those got Jensen's in them.
What? I don't think it was recent, but
Maybe, I don't know. But that's just I don't know. But I mean, that's what I got. That's what's in mine. I think that's what's in mine. Yeah. I think that's what I got in mine. But it's been a while since I actually looked at it.
we should do some speaker shootouts.
We should. Well, and like I said, that is one of those things again of like if you have a lower wattage amp and you are in a combo situation, if you get a higher powered speaker or one that can handle more,
Yeah, then
you can open up the amp as wide as you want, and you're never gonna. Which I actually really, again, I like that sound. It just kind of depends on what you're doing, because like, that was something like I remember when Jake was first kind of getting or exploring the Marshall thing, was like when I first got into that, I always assumed, especially when you go to like the earlier Marshall heads, I always assumed that there were like massive changes to like when I first got into it without knowing anything. I thought there were big changes from a Marshall from a Bassman, and obviously there wasn't. But the speaker choice was huge. Like the difference with that is huge. And then when you get further into that, when you start exploring like, well, what did Clapton use with John Mayall, and then you get further into that where he's in Cream, then you have Pete Townsend, getting into the 812s and then the 412s, and then the further you get down that rabbit hole, you do start finding out more and more that like the speakers they were using were almost just as much, if not more, influential on how the amp was ultimately kind of coming across. And that was something that completely changed that was how I figured out, or at least got a glimpse into, speakers are kind of the undervalued thing that actually makes a bigger impact on your sound than almost any other thing you're mixing in.
It's the easiest mod, and that's like
Yeah.
in the groups that I've, like I said, reading through. I mean, a lot of people are like, you don't necessarily have to go and get the Frommel mod to do a thing, or hey, what if I take out this capacitor and replace this and that? And most people are like, go check out a few just speaker. Like that's your
Start
easiest
there.
mod first, and you may just do that and be
Well, it's the biggest
completely
impact
happy
for
with
the money.
Yeah. It's like that could be the thing that does exactly what you want. So start there. You know?
Well, and I do feel bad for people because we have a lot of. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, we have a lot of customers that trade in amps because they don't want to mess with the speaker part of it, and like that part does make because like a lot of times it's. Like the amp might be for you. Like it still might be your amp. Yeah. You just need to find the right speaker that works for what you want to do. But a lot of people never really get to that point.
Yeah,
and
it's like you should put a Texas Heat in here, or a Cannabis Rex, or maybe a V30, or a Creamback, or something like that. And like that, oh, this is too bright. Well, maybe try this. Yeah. And that's kind of designed to take a little bit of that, the top end off of it.
Like one of our coworkers, James, bought a beautiful amp, custom, from McClostone, and chose the speaker that he wanted in it, and it was the wrong choice.
God, was it the wrong choice? Yeah, because that was one too of like that was a great reminder. Because like I love speaker cabinets and the whole thing, but that was one of those things of like, holy shit, the speaker can literally more or less render the amp useless. Because I mean that
was a very nice amp.
Yeah, because it was an incredible amp, but that amp sounded almost useless with that speaker. As soon as he swapped in the one that Gene gave him, like night and day difference.
What did Gene end up giving him?
I think it was an old Jensen, but that was what originally what Aaron had suggested to James was like something in that ballpark.
Because it was like basement.
So wait a minute, you're saying he didn't listen to the guy that actually built the
well,
amps?
to be fair,
recommendation?
to be fair, I was going to say to give James at least a little bit. He, based on the description, I would have also not expected that speaker to sound that bad. Like the description
was the first. Okay, so let's.
Description was great. The actual speaker, awful.
So what was the original speaker? Just so we're not shitting on the speaker, but we just want to know what it didn't work with it.
It was a Weber Grey Wolf?
Grey Wolf, or I think that was, which is weird, because, like, I've usually never heard speakers, and it, honestly, I guess I won't say, because I didn't try that speaker with another amp, so I won't shit on the speaker. I will say, though,
that was, like, overly bright might sound really good through that speaker.
Well, right, and that was, I think, James's thinking, because based on the description, that's what you would have assumed. But it was one of those things where I don't know if it was an efficiency thing, in terms of like the speaker was, a higher efficiency than that amp kind of called for, because like you could not get the amp to clean up. Like it was just completely broken up kind of all the time.
Really?
Yeah. And it wasn't
I wasn't here for that.
Yeah, no, it was kind of a weird thing because like James at first was kind of, I mean, he was super disappointed, and it was fair because like it did not sound good. And so we were trying to figure out what to kind of do, and I think me and him tried one of Wolfgang's cabinets with his amp, and then that's when we're like, okay, well, it's definitely the speaker. But it was just the weirdest thing of how those two things did not mesh well, and like that's probably the most extreme example I've ever heard in person of like of what a speaker could kind of do. Because like once we put a speaker that was kind of more suited to the amp, that amp sounds amazing. So.
Well, I mean, everything that
Aaron does,
it sounds great. That's why I'm kind of like, wait a minute, what? So, and I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, well, no, that was kind of why like James was super disappointed and kind of down about it, and that was at the time I was kind of like, well, no, don't give up on this thing yet. Like you got this cool, awesome amp. Like, don't give up on it yet. You just got to get the right speaker. But then when he actually played it for me, I was like, oh man, that was not good. But then we got the right one in there.
He also ran through a bunch of different amps for a bit.
He did
as well,
and he still is.
Yeah,
but I mean, in terms of
he was saying it earlier today. He's like, I'm going to go back to tube amps.
Yeah.
Till he has to drag. He took a super, and had to drag it up.
Did he take a super?
Oh, it was that Basement 10? That
giant,
the 410 thing. Yeah.
And then the very next gig didn't have an elevator, and they were up on the patio.
Yeah.
So he had to drag that thing up.
Yeah.
No. And the thing is like, even if you had a hand cart, the worst thing is like clunk, clunk,
oh yeah,
clunk, tube rattle, clunk, tube rattle, and it's like that's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, like
hear.
Which step is gonna kill it?
Yeah, like the worst thing in the world is that tube rattle sound. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
That happened to me years ago. A guy took my Blues Junior off a chair and put it down, and you put it down, so I'm like, dude. 2 days later, after the The gig was over, but 2 days later, I clicked the fucking amp on it. It was dead.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I had to get it. I think Fat Willie worked on that one way back when. He's like, yeah, it's just some, Willie.
Well, funny enough, though, Willie, he was also actually a huge proponent of speaker choice.
Oh, yeah.
Because when he was doing
worked with Weber.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When he was doing those builds for Derek Trucks,
Yep.
Derek wanted to, get a speaker that would be consistent, made today, with a modern company that was going to be suited to what he was doing. And so they ended up doing, the DT series. I think it was a 10. I don't know if they ended up doing a 12.
Because he was using...
Supers, I think.
Yeah, he's a super guy.
Yeah.
But they're like Alejandro.
Yeah.
I got an Alejandro 12 somewhere buried in the warehouse.
A speaker?
Yeah.
Oh,
I got
nice.
a few different ones back there, and I'm like, well, I got that 212 I brought home. That's got the JBLs. But then there's Jensen's back here. I got an Alejandro back here. I'm like, I got way too much shit without not enough stuff.
Pair of 75th anniversary V30s.
Yeah, and actually, getting into that too, even within V30s, there's basically the originals. Then there's like the ones through I don't know, the last 30 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last, was it 2 years ago? I think they ended up going back and they ended up figuring out it was the dust cover. That was the main thing that was changing the sound from the original ones to the modern production ones that everybody was always griping about. So they went ahead and went back to the original dust cap, and funny enough, everybody is in love with that speaker again. So it literally can be the littlest things that make the biggest difference, and especially when you're miking stuff up, because I think that's one of those things too that people your perception of something in the room is one thing, but when you're recording, that's where I always heard a lot of big differences with speakers. Was just when you finally really hear it with headphones and you're hearing it up close, it makes a big difference. And so that's one of those things of, I guess to summarize all of it is if you have an amp that you kind of like, but you're not totally in love with the sound, before you give up on it, try it with other speakers first.
Yeah, try a few different things, or cabs.
Yeah.
Obviously you have a cab that you can, because most places have a 30-day return policy. So if you're going to go to a big box store, you could buy that, put it into a thing. Or if you have a sacrificial cab that you can switch out easy, that way you could test it and see if it's going to do, if it's going to do what you want.
Well, yeah, see how it behaves first before you invest. But
order all four.
Well, and that's the thing. You don't have to rip the speaker out to test other things.
Right.
You can just plug a speaker cable in and out to a cabinet, and now you test out whatever you want.
So, and it's if you have the dough to do it, you could buy 4 speakers from a company, have a cab, switch all 4 through, and what you could do is actually, see how you like it personally, but also record it, go back, listen to it through headphones. But then it's if you find one that you like, then return the other 3. Now, returns suck, but I suggest doing that to not a mom and pop store.
And further, actually,
bigger
to that
stores,
point,
but the bigger stores have.
They can absorb it.
They can absorb that a little easier.
Well, the thing with speakers, though, you
that.
can't actually test them without damaging them because you don't have to solder them.
Right.
So, if you do the quick connects and you do it safely, you can't actually audition speakers without damaging them. So,
and you could even do gator clips. I mean, if you had to, you can figure out a way to.
If you had to, but I mean, you literally the quick clips that you can get, and then you just wire up that to the end of a 1/4 inch, and that's all you need.
And there's a ton of videos online that compare speakers. We should make one. But there's some really good ones where they play the same riff.
Yeah, Johann Segerborn was a channel that was really good at that. Yeah,
and they'll just show you all the different ones. And I've spent hours listening to speakers because of how much difference. You're like, no, I didn't. It's not gonna wait.
Yeah,
I've been reading up because I got a Pro Junior that I like a lot, and it has a 10-inch speaker, and it can get, if you push it, it can get a little. But it has a warehouse speaker, which actually Eric just mentioned. But it sounds pretty good. But I kind of want to put a 12 in it. And I could do it with adjusting. If I modify the baffle, I can do it. But I'm kind of I got to test some stuff before I put anything in there. Because what I have in there doesn't sound bad. But I think a 12 would give me a bit of the lower end that I would like to have. But I got a test. I'm like, I might have to steal it. A 112 cab, because I do have that Alessandro, and I got a couple. I even have a Dr. Z speaker at my house.
Oh, I bet that's nice too.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, I'm gonna have to. I just got to take a weekend and fart around with it. But Eric said that he uses the warehouse speakers, and they're good and inexpensive. We've always had really good experience with the warehouse speaker stuff.
And
I got two amps that have those in there.
And he did the mix and match, an ET65 and a Veteran 30 in a twin reverb.
Yeah, which is their
Which is
version
like
of the
their
V30.
yeah, their V30.
Yeah, I think the ET65, funny enough, especially with the twin reverb, I think that is the one that is suggested by them because it is pretty similar to the old JBL.
Mm-hmm. Those JBLs sound great with the twins that we've had over the years.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we had a whole amp sell just for the speakers.
That's true. Is that the one I got the Mesa from?
No.
That was after. Yeah, but
no, that was
right.
your twin from Alice Cooper.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So to kind of wrap things up, do you guys have a favorite speaker?
I do like the Cannabis Rex a lot because it can cover a lot of ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that's one of my favorites. Besides like V30, depending on the application, it all depends on what the thing is. So
I would say, well, yes, I have a few favorites, but I'd say my favorite pairing would be so Celestion used to make the classic lead 80, which is what Mesa is like. Basically, Mesa's C90 is just a 90-watt version of the classic lead 80. So that's actually the easiest way, because the classic lead 80, unfortunately, they discontinued a long, like in the early 80s, I think. But that was my favorite speaker. That speaker gets infinitely better though if you pair it with a V30. So like that pairing is awesome because like they literally perfectly match each other's deficit. So like they're a great pair. That's actually what's in my my 212 that I built in there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
that thing sounds good too.
it does. And an oversized 212s, like if you're gonna have a speaker cab and you don't want to go 412, oversized 212 is the way to go. All right, and now Jacob, what's your favorite?
The EV12M.
Oh yeah, okay. The Electro Voice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are incredible. Like even just as like a feat of engineering when it comes to speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if those will ever be outdone because like the efficiency is literally 1-to-1. So like you can put a 1-watt amp through it and it's still incredibly loud. 200 watts of handling, so it's basically a 412 built into one speaker. Yeah, and it's like those things are just, they're great.
Yep. Nice
heavy.
wide.
They're heavy, but they're great.
Frequency range.
Yes.
Love them.
Yeah, they also look like something from like vintage sci-fi when you look at the back of them.
Yeah,
they're
really cool looking.
Yeah.
All right, looks like we are about that time. So I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Hey, Janice, saw that you got in here late. Appreciate everybody hanging out and listening to whatever nonsense we started the conversation with,
I've
already forgot. So go back and we're talking about something that's not related to anything.
As usual.
Yeah, we gotta get going.
Gotta wait for everybody to roll in.
Yeah. Gotta get started. Anyway, thanks everybody. What?
Don't forget to like and subscribe and
Yes.
share with your friends and all the good stuff.
And check out Maris Monday if you want to listen to some spacey sounds and cool ambient music. On the channel, the guys usually start about 9-ish. And then on Mondays, they're also getting in gear, testing out gear, kind of what we used to do if we got to it.
I was going to say, we'll try
format.
to bump it up too. So, like, because, we haven't been intentionally excluding you because of the time. It's just Mondays are hard. No, Mondays are hard. Mondays suck.
No, Mondays have no.
There's great aspects of Mondays, but for whatever reason, Mondays are so complicated in the morning.
Yeah, well, no, I get it. Yeah. For some reason, Mondays turned into a nightmare. But yeah, I was kind of like, I wouldn't mind getting in on this action here. Yeah. Like, I want to play too.
You want to get in gear?
I want to get in gear too, but I'm not. Sometimes by 6, I'm done on a Monday because I usually start my day on Mondays early. I get up and I'm doing stuff before I even get in here. And so by the time we get to 4 or 5, I'm like, I'm
waning here. I'm waiting.
I'm like, I want to go. Anyway, So, like I said, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Hit the like button. That'll help tremendously. Watch the other stuff, and we'll throw some more stuff out there. Also, check out the page Audibly Dumb. So Zach is a friend of the shop. He's been getting some gear and trying some stuff. So go check out his channel. He's been doing some reviews and demo stuff. So cool dude. And yeah, go check out his channel too. Yeah. And go check out Texas Toast, Who's Next, and Dylan Talks Stone, and all that good stuff. All right, that's it. I'm done rambling on about other shit.
Okay.
Now it's time for me to order some Indian food.
So, and we'll catch you
Yeah. I'll catch you after I eat my Indian food.
on the flip
On
side.
the flip side.
On the flip side of Indian food.
Right.
Oh, wait.
I'll wait for you to
Come
play us
on,
out.
tikka masala. Tikka masala, tikka masala, tikka masala. Spicy.
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 On the flip side.
Good night.
We'll catch you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Denver.